So today we're going to talk about how to get more out of the driver, and we're going to be looking at a recent lesson of Lynn. So Lynn is a student who's been on the channel before, and she's been making some real good progression. But when I've been speaking to Lynn, she's playing lots of competitive golf and is scoring in the sort of low 80s, which is really competitive and doing very well in the events. But she wants to take her game to that next level, and it's the same with amateur golfers. What's happening with Lynn is that in tournament golf, she's not really even hitting the driver because it doesn't go any further than the 3 wood. So she tends to do that, and it puts her more in play. And before Lynn came to visit for the lesson, I asked her to share her analysis of a game. So something that's known as strokes gained, which is just like a bit of software which really gets into the nooks of your golf game. And we found that really it was tee shots. So if we could improve Lynn's tee shots, meaning hit it further and maybe hit it a little bit straighter, you'd also notice there would be this sort of knock-on effect, as I see with other students, where if you can improve the golfer off the tee, it takes the pressure off the approach play because you're obviously hitting, well, from better positions and shorter clubs into greens, and that takes the pressure off the short game and also the putting. And that was something I was really keen to do with Lynn. Didn't really like it. It's quite a similar sort of story, isn't it, for lots of amateur golfers, where you probably notice your 3 wood goes almost just as far as the driver, and we don't want that to be the case. So what was happening, and this is what I want to sort of explain first and foremost, is for Lynn, why wasn't she getting the maximum sort of distance with the driver? Well, it was a little bit sort of twofold. What was ultimately happening when we looked at the flight scope data was that, generally speaking, Lynn's club path wasn't too bad. Sometimes started to move maybe a little bit too much out to him, but it wasn't so much that. But what we did notice is that the attack angle was just too much on the up. So she was almost hitting too much up on the golf ball, and not in a real good way. The reason why she was hitting too much up on the golf ball was as she started the downswing, what was happening, she just wasn't moving towards her lead side enough. So she wasn't shifting in the manner as I'm demonstrating here. What she was doing was moving more this way. And this kind of promotes a little bit of a sort of casting motion like so, loses a bit of club head speed, but also makes you hit too much up on the golf ball. Start hitting too much up on it, you're going to be prone to offset to hitting, and that's kind of what we generally saw. Lynn's average with a range ball was only a carry distance of about 150. Admittedly, with a real ball it'd be further than that, but that's where we were at. Hence the 3 wood in tournament golf makes sort of sense. So we started playing around with different drills, different explanations and different feelings, but it wasn't really until we started just concentrating on the through swing where things really started to click. And what I kind of made Lynn very aware of is in her sort of finish position, she had kind of a toe was a little crunched on the trail side like so. And once we started to be a bit more aware of that and started to get more of a feeling of shifting the pelvis over to the lead side and getting this feeling of sort of thrusting a little more up as opposed to sitting back, all of a sudden the foot position completely changed, and so did the results. Because really what was starting to happen was Lynn was nice backswing and really getting more up and through the ball. When you start moving more up and through the ball, that propels that left arm off the chest and gets you moving more this way, and that's what we saw. We started to see a jump in 25 yards worth more of distance and more of a desirable sort of, draw shape. So for Lynn, it was a bit lower, right? Because she was just so hitting it so high and putting too much spin on it, and it just made a massive difference. Now, for lots of students that I tend to see, it's a similar sort of narrative. Golfers are very consumed by starting the downswing with rotational motion and getting into certain positions, but what I'm trying to say is you have to make sure that actually by concentrating on your through swing can massively influence obviously the sequence that comes before that time, as it did very much with Lynn. So next time you go to the range, make some swings, make some practice swings, particularly with the driver, and just make sure that you're finishing that swing, you feel nice and tall in that finished position, feel like your hips are tucked a little underneath your chest, like so, and therefore you should notice the way that your foot finishes like so. Not like this. This would mean you're too far back and you're not moving enough towards your left-hand side throughout your golf swing. And like I did with Lynn, we just worked a little bit on moving a little bit more left earlier in the backswing, and then just getting more left and up through the through swing, and it made a massive difference. And that's why I'm confident it'll make a massive difference for you guys as well. Let me know how you got on. I'll see you soon.